fresh squeeze, tangerine dreams, I'm sliding stocks.
So Popo is full-time with the company. He is in Canada, but he's building throughout Europe, especially France. He's French speaking. He builds in most provinces of Canada, living in Calgary now. But you see his transformation there. He's also one of our 100+ pound weight loss stories. I think he's at 115 pound down now. He's incredible on social media. So if you want to learn podcasting skills and really how to communicate out there, watch some of his stuff. He's really, really good. But he and about 4 or 5 others, we're going to hear another one on Friday named Jonathan, and there's more that we may get on here and recorded. But he worked with the Moringa plant for a decade, and I heard him train on it while we were in Canada. And once you hear Popo explain how this is the tree of life, you'll never be able to go a day the rest of your life without putting this in your body at least once, and probably going to have to put it in twice a day after you hear him. So Popo, take us away.
So once again, thank you so much for the amazing, privilege to be able to share on Moringa. So let's go. I know I just have a few minutes, and it's definitely a challenge. When it comes to Moringa, it's almost like you're in a beauty pageant, and you have all these beautiful people, and then there's a rule where you can't really describe all their beauty. It's kind of the same thing with Moringa. There's so much to be said, but let's give it a try. So yes, welcome everybody. This is Moringa, and we just launched Vital One. But what I'm going to do right here, I'm going to, just give us a good snapshot on Moringa itself, and then why Vital One is really the best Moringa ever to be launched in any distribution channel on earth. So was Moringa in the Garden of Eden? That's a good question. We call it the miracle tree, the tree of heaven, the tree of life. So many, the tree of God. And this is what Revelation 22:2 says. I'm reading from the New King James Version. In the middle of its street, and on either side of the river was the tree of life. There you go. You get a hint right there, which bore 12 fruits, each tree yielding its fruit every month. The leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. Well, I guess it's, this is the Bible, this is the book of Revelation. But again, you look at Moringa and it's like, wow, these leaves are definitely for the healing of the nations. This is definitely a tree, that could have, I guess, it may have well been, in the Garden of Eden, because it really displays, that it has that anointing, of the tree of life. So I guess this scripture really describes well what we see in Moringa. So why is it called the miracle tree? Science calls it a healer, a nourisher, a beautician, and also a humanitarian. It carries everything in it, that is vital, and I guess our product is called Vital One. That is vital for not only the manufacture the manufacturing of life, but also the sustaining of life, the correction of life. So just think about it, the manufacturing of life. When I'm saying manufacturing of life, I'm not saying that it's like God. No, the manufacturing of life. I'm talking about the fact that it impacts creation of cellular energy. Okay, so it will impact manufacturing of life, sustainment of life, and also correction. So it'll help manufacturers correct, sustain at the cellular level. That it really has everything in it. It acts like its own intelligent system that knows what to do when it gets into the human body. So in terms of Moringa being a nourisher, it's being used in different parts of Africa for malnutrition, because infantile malnutrition is really high in different parts of the world, where you see children dying before the age of 5 years old. Between the age of 0 to 5 years old, there's a very high infantile mortality rate. And Moringa is being used in different parts of the world to actually fight malnutrition. So that's huge right there. Yeah, and in countries like Senegal, it's called the nebedae, the nebedae or the nebedae tree. And the nebedae is just a play on word, which means never die, the tree that never dies. In Ethiopia, they call Moringa shefarao. That means the tree that makes 1,000 diseases flee. So many names. You go to the Philippines and it's called Malunggay. And if you meet a Filipino person, and that's a hint for building your business, look for the Filipino community, because that's like their national vegetable. If you say Malunggay to a Filipino person, you almost for sure have a business partner or a customer, and that can lead you really, really far. It's a beautician, a humanitarian, and Moringa is even good for animals as well. Cattle, in terms of a nourishing cattle, it's the best nutrition out there for nourishing cattle. And same thing, also, even with, animals such as dogs or even, horses and all that's for those who have animals, Moringa is definitely an amazing nutrition. And also, it helps purify water. It purifies water. The moringa seeds you see there, it purifies water, and it does a better job at purifying water than the chemicals that they use in the city water that you get in your water tap. It does a better job because it really acts like its own intelligent system. It'll isolate all the bacteria and microbes, plug them in all in one spot and pull them down the water, and the water remains pure. And then remember, our bodies are made of 70% of water. So if you drink moringa, just, think about what may happen, because it purifies water. And in terms of what science has been telling us about moringa, it's the most nutritious plant on earth. You can ask Siri, and Siri will confirm. 7 times the vitamin C of oranges, 10 times the vitamin A of carrots, 17 times the calcium of milk, 25 times the iron in spinach, and 15 times the potassium of bananas, 9 times the protein of yogurt, 15 times the fiber of wheat. This is the most nutritious plant on earth. And like I was saying, it may have well been in the Garden of Eden, just amazing stuff. And that's already amazing, not like, that wasn't amazing enough. It was, but it's not, we're not done yet. It also has 46 antioxidants. In a society today where cancer is, exploding all over the place, you go to Canada, if you go to the Canadian Cancer Society, I'm not making any claims, I'm just giving you scientific facts, okay? Canadian Cancer Society says that there are more than 500 new diagnoses of cancer daily in Canada, and there's a little bit more than 200 people who die daily of cancer. That's a daily statistics. And these numbers are from 2015. So can you imagine in 2026 is way higher. So when you hear anything that has to do with antioxidants, you really want to pay attention, because nowadays, if you look at global health and the way we have all these phenomena with diseases and stuff, so you really want to appreciate the fact that it has 46 antioxidants. 36 anti-inflammatory as well. And keep in mind that many health issues come from inflammation, many of them. And how does the body get inflamed? Most of the time, it's from the foods we eat. So imagine that we had a lake. We were all in a village, and all we had is one lake. And we can all drink from that one lake. But that lake is poisonous, And if we're all in the same village, only one lake, and that lake is poisonous, well, it's only a matter of time before everybody starts to not feel well, start to get sick. So that's kind of how everybody is exposed to inflammation. Doesn't matter where you go do your grocery shoppings, unless you buy your own land, you start planting your own crops, and you make sure it's all real natural. Other than that, every time you go to the supermarket, you're gonna get inflamed, with whatever you're gonna purchase, unfortunately. So it has all the omegas 3, 6, and 9. It has 20 amino acids, including the 9 essential amino acids our bodies cannot produce on its own. And these amino acids haven't been in the food chain for the last 50 years, for the last 5 decades, more than the last 5 decades. So, but you find them in moringa. So this makes it a very important beverage to drink, on a daily basis, because when it comes to the 9 essential amino acids, if you're missing at least one, you can't even miss one. You need all 9. But if you're missing just one, your cells won't be able to reproduce themselves. So you need all 9, and Moringa has all 9. So you want to make sure, you put that Vital One product that we have, on an auto ship. This is a product that must be a foundation for your health and for your life. Now, more than 90 benefits, more than 90 nutrients. This here it's not just a number. It's a huge number. The fact that it's got 90 plus, nutrients. Why is it a big number? Because scientifically speaking, it's known that unless you put 90 nutrients in your body on a daily basis, your body becomes acidic. You fall into acidose. You see, and when your body is acidosis, it's when your pH is, unbalanced, because your pH is supposed to be around 7 or 7.5. So if you're not getting 90 nutrients, your body becomes acidic. So we live in a very acidic society where people are just, have acidic bodies, and diseases and degenerative diseases and cancers and all these things. It comes from an environment where your body is acidic. So just think about that for a minute. What will it take, in terms of fruits and vegetables, and what's the quantity that it would require in normal times to have 90 nutrients in your body daily? It's impossible. You don't have the capacity in your stomach. Well, Moringa gives you more than 90. Just that there, you want to drink it every day, because if you can avoid acidosis, if you avoid your body becoming acidic, then you fall into what we call homeostasis. This is where you want to live on a daily basis. So Moringa will help your body be in homeostasis and not be, in acidose. This is really, really used to understand why you got to have such a beverage on a daily basis. And the same thing, science also tells us that unless you have at least 51% of raw food on a daily basis, your body becomes toxic. So we need 51% of raw food daily. Do we even, how can we get, 51% of raw food on a daily basis? It's, most of the time in a very, very busy society, it's impossible. But Moringa will give you that, because you're getting something that is raw and natural. So that's also very, very important. So you want to avoid becoming acidic or toxic. So Moringa will help you do that. And if you look at the different vitamins and minerals that we have in Moringa, it's called, nature's multivitamin. Just look, beta sitosterol, several B vitamins, vitamin C, D, D3, E, calcium, selenium, magnesium. I mean, you look at, it's really like an amazing, vitamin cocktail, from nature. And just to conclude quickly, I'm not going to spend much time here because there's so much to be said. I'm going to go to the next slide. But this here is what you can call the metabolic trigger of Moringa. It has all these, 90 plus nutrients. But if you just look at these 5 here, these here are key, and they are responsible for so much of the activity that you're gaining from Moringa. You see, because Moringa, once you start drinking it, your body receives more than 539, I think, chemical reactions. This is a body coming alive. This is a body going back to its state of, being alive. So if you look at zeaxanthin, it's a potent antioxidant. It plays a big role in there. Quercetin is a huge one. Quercetin is huge. It's got multifunction. It's a flavonoid known for its ability to neutralize free radicals and relieve inflammation. But not just that, it's responsible for so many things. During the coronavirus era, we didn't understand how come those who drank Moringa, just got better. I'm not talking about healing or anything like that, but I'm just saying they got better. And later on, we discovered that quercetin was the reason. Was the reason why, it would help people. I mean, there's a long story around it and would require more explanations, but just to let you know that this is a huge nutrient in Moringa. Beta sitosterol, same thing right there. It's a nutrient, it's like a superstar nutrient that blocks bad, the cholesterol, formation, build up in your body. And it's also an amazing anti-inflammatory agent in your body. The caffeoclinic acid, same thing. This is also a huge, element in Moringa. It's very, very powerful. It's a powerful anti-inflammatory compound for your body benefits. And all same thing with camphorol, a key nutrient that promotes healthy body cellular function. But like I said, there's a whole study around these 5 elements. We see them as a metabolic trigger, in Moringa, and there's actually a chemical sheet that you can access from Moringa, and you can see how these 5 elements, they are responsible for, when you hear that Moringa as per the National Institute of Health of the USA, it tells us that it's been telling us that Moringa can help with more than 300 health conditions, disease and health condition. Well, these 5 elements here that you see in this list, they are responsible because of their functions. They cover pretty much all of these 300 plus, health conditions that Moringa can help your human body with. These 5 elements here, they are responsible for that spectrum, that wide spectrum. So, so another opportunity when we can do a more in-depth training on Moringa, I'll be able to share that chemical sheet and you'll see just how mind-blowing it is. And as per the National Institute of Health of the USA, it's been telling us that over the years, over the different, it goes back thousands of years, different indigenous populations have been using Moringa in the treatment or prevention of over 300 diseases and medical conditions. And we're talking about, the National Institute of Health. Again, this is not a claim that PartnerCo is making. Let's just make it clear, this is the National Institute of Health. I'm just using the third-party science that is out there, at least we can protect ourselves if we can do that. So as you can see, I'm not going to go through all that list, but you can see for yourself, weight management and all these things, and blood sugar, cardiac issues, antibacterial, arthritis, pain, inflammation. It's just incredible, gastric ulceration, malnutrition as well. I mentioned that earlier. Energy, fertility. We've got amazing Moringa baby stories. And as a matter of fact, there's a lady in my team, back in the Moringa days, the Moringa nutrition helped her have her first baby. And when she reached out to me later on, because she was still going through miscarriages, well, I recommended Noni. This was before our Moringa. And she got her second baby on Noni. Okay, so first baby on Moringa, second baby on Noni, but just interesting that that Moringa will do that as well. Same thing, but it helps with breastfeeding as well. But if you had your baby and you need help with breastfeeding, let me tell you that it does an incredible job. Like my wife, she would take 1 glass of Moringa, and within 2 hours, her milk would just come out like a fountain on its own, like a fountain. So, and we've seen many tests. Some women would just take their milk, it just freeze it, because they will use Moringa, and the milk production would just explode, and they will have to pump the milk with a machine and put it in the fridge, put it like in the freezer. So many amazing things that Moringa will do, as you can see there. The benefits are endless. In the middle of this image, it's actually the amino acids in Moringa and the different body parts that it works on. Because you heard earlier that Moringa has the 20 amino acids. Yes, well, these amino acids, this chart here with the human body, it just shows you the different, the names of these amino acids and which body part they actually work on. Okay, and now Vital One. Vital One, I consider that this is so far the greatest and biggest Moringa experience that you ever gonna discover or come across, really, because it's not just delivering us the magnificence of Moringa that you've heard earlier. We're gonna get all of that, but there's more that we have in this product. It's more. This product is also introducing us to a new era of how the human body can get nourished. A new era, and that era is the era of molecular nutrition. This is something that if you stop somebody on the street and ask them, do you know molecular nutrition? Most of them won't know what you're talking about. Well, this is why we have the privilege to be introducing the world to. We have the privilege to introduce the world to the Moringa experience the whole planet has been waiting for. Not like people were waiting for Vital One, but I'm just like people were praying for better nutrition, for better health, because health is really not in a good state, worldwide speaking. So this is the answer. This is one of the answers. Okay, I'm not going to say it's the only one, of course, but this is one of the answer and a major answer. Yeah, so it makes, this is here what makes this product really, really unique, our Vital One Moringa. Why? Because these extra ingredients that Dr. Plant added in the formulation, well, let me tell you that there are people in the US, I don't know if you've heard about the whole movement with the biohacking and all of that, it's more, it's talked a lot about recently, biohacking and all that stuff. And there are people who actually got NAD shots, NAD shots, and they were spending up to, $10,000, to get, their NAD shots, to get their mitochondria, boosted so that they can produce more cellular energy and all that. So people will do that. Well, you don't need to go get these mitochondria boosting shots, to get your NAD in your body. Because when you look at these ingredients right there, that's your mitochondria extra boost. And what will this do? I'm just going to keep it very, very simple. Just imagine that your body's manufacturing facility for life energy, what we call, cellular energy. That's your life force. That's your life energy. So this formulation here, not only that Moringa on its own, it's also has a huge impact on mitochondria and telomeres and telomerase and all that part of your body and everything for longevity. Moringa does that as well. But this extra formulation that we have, these ingredients on their own, they are a huge boost to your mitochondria, which means that your body now will be able to operate at a higher level of producing the life energy, the life force. And when your body carries that extra energy of life, what does it mean? It simply means that it can now dispatch, some of that energy in different parts of your body to increase its capacity to self-heal. Because our bodies, God created them to be able to self-heal. So if you have a better mitochondria, functioning with more life energy, well, it just means that your body will be more capable of healing itself because now it can dispatch more energy in different parts of the body. So this what makes us, being set apart in terms of our Vital One Moringa. It's not just a regular Moringa. It's the best Moringa ever, but also it's the best combination of Moringa and these elements, which makes it a unique mitochondria, NAD, telomere and telomerase booster. And this is huge in terms of longevity and living long and, and not getting sick. That's kind of the whole idea if you understand what you have here and you want to make it a daily consumption. And I like how this slide here, which is in our corporate documents, it says clearly here, unlocks full biological potential with plant-based nutrition. So what you're really getting with this product, it's really unlocking your full biological potential. Just think about it for a minute. Your full biological potential is being unlocked, unleashed. So just imagine, if you make it a daily regimen, how your life will be in the next few months, in the next few years, in the next few decades, you're really gonna, have you're gonna age differently, in terms of, anti-aging. Moringa will do that as well. But just imagine what this means, just filling up the nutritional gaps and everything, but also just increasing your full biological potential. So this is definitely, something huge. And of course, the Moringa we're using, it's shade dried, which means that you're going to get the best power that's in Moringa, because when it's shade dried compared to fresh Moringa, the shade dried Moringa leaves, what it will do, it will simply magnify the Moringa's power by 40 times. It makes it 40 times more powerful when you're using shade dried, and the version we have is shade dried as well. And we're using the best parts of the Moringa tree as well, not just the leaves, because not all Moringa products that you see in the market are the same. We're using the leaves, the fruits, we're using the seeds, we're using the best parts of the Moringa tree. So we're actually drinking like a tree when you're using our Vital One product, plus of course the other ingredients that you've seen. And this is a testimony that was shared on our beta testing group, because I was privileged to be part of the beta testing group with the company. And so just imagine, look at where this person was before Moringa, and look at how her, the swollenness and everything went away, after, the Moringa. And again, this is nothing compared to, the endless number of testimonies that will be coming, as we continue to use the product. Get ready. I can say brace yourselves, because what's coming is really going to be huge. What's coming in terms of Moringa itself is really huge. The potential is big. Moringa is also very popular, I feel. It's coming more and more popular, but it's really like a popular tree. At the last event we did in Calgary, we did the drops, we did everything, and it was amazing. But it was just interesting to see at the end how some people would just they felt that everything was amazing, but there was something special about Moringa, and all they wanted was just, okay, well, I want to try the Moringa first. Even though they needed to maybe lose weight and they should have gotten the drops and all that, but the focus was just on Moringa. So it's something that can really create a types of movement where you see like infatuation, people really being infatuated. There's something about it that creates movement, that creates love connections. It's a product somehow that becomes like a love story. I've said it already in many occasions. It's like a love story. You just love it. And when you take our product, it's particularly amazing in the sense that the aroma starts the seduction. You're just like, wow, it smells so good. And then you taste it, you take that first sip. It's like that first sip of love at first sip. And it's important. It might sound funny, but it's so key. Why? Because beverages, very popular beverages, brown liquid, they've conquered the world, and that excessive sugar, we know what it can, we know what the damages it does in your body. So how about something that tastes good and that spills life into your body? So we want to make sure we put this product in all the household all over the world. That's really the vision, because we will just spread life at a higher level, life more abundantly, the way Jesus wanted it, the way Jesus, sold us, the concept of life more abundantly until it overflows. And this is definitely a product that is a good agent of the life more abundantly, perspective. So I'll stop right there. I guess there's so much to be said, but again, we'll not go further than that. Thank you so much, Todd Rowland, for the amazing opportunity to share on Moringa. I truly feel that even though, I shared what I shared, there's so much, more to be said. There's so much more to be presented to just open up our eyes to the magnitude of what we have. We can really have we talk a lot about the wealth creation, becoming millionaires and everything. Well, Moringa right now, it's a $10 billion market, 10 billion. In the next 10 years, it'll go over 25 billion. It's still not, excessively big numbers. We're not talking about trillions, but still, it's still a $10 billion industry. And in the next 10 years, it's expected to go over 25 billion. So let's go get some of that. Let's create Moringa millionaires. Let's go create a new generation of entrepreneurs that will really explode into making millions, and having the Moringa also be part of that, because the demand is so big when it comes to Moringa. Get ready to be contacted by different people from different parts of the world where we're not even open yet. That's the type of traction Moringa gives to a business.
Fresh squeeze, tangerine dreams, I'm sliding. Stocks.